are Gathering of the Geeks, a podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag We Gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one where we watch it anyway. I'm one of your hosts, Emmet, and I'm joined by the Ted Lasso, to my coach beard, Chris Evans. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, pretty good.
As I was thinking.
Yeah. Gathering of the Geeks. It's available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, folks. So if you're watching us right now, go to your favorite podcast app and search for Gathering of the Geeks, and you'll find us right there. Chris, here's a good one for you. So if you have friends who are Instagram, like actual friends, like ones you text, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they send you something on Instagram via DM, do you reply on Instagram or do you text them?
Usually I'll just reply within whatever app we're talking in.
Ooh, that bugs me. I can't. Ooh.
It's kind of, you sent me the thing over here, so why would I, unless you send me the link to something in text, then I will reply in the text. But if you send me something on Twitter, I will reply on Twitter or something on,
Yeah, see that brainwave is where I'm at. If you want me to, in a couple different ways. I don't like having two different conversations going.
I do that.
So see that that drives me nuts. Like just today, a gentleman from the place where I work, we text, but then he sent me something today. So I was trying to think, okay, do I reply here? It's like, ha, that's funny or whatever. Or do I just go to where we regularly converse and say, hey, that thing you sent me is funny? Doesn't that just make you want to scratch your eyeballs out thinking about it?
No.
No.
No, I'm cool with it.
That's fine.
I'm good. Whichever app you communicate with me, that's where we're going to communicate for that particular thing.
Yeah. I wish they would just send me the link to the thing in text. I think that would solve me a lot of problems.
Well, so like with Zeddy,
right.
If I want to show him something on TikTok,
mm-hmm.
I'll send him something on TikTok. We'll comment there, and then we're just talking on Twitter anyway, usually at the same time. So.
Yeah, see, when you send me TikToks, you send them via Twitter DM where we converse all the time. I'm like, oh, this is great. I don't have to comment or like or anything on TikTok. That's right. That helps.
If you had a TikTok, we would communicate that way.
Yeah, maybe that's my problem. Got to cut down on the stuff that I have.
No, we need to get you a TikTok.
Oh, no, I don't know if I want that.
It's fun. There's this guy on there. I don't think I like him. It's nothing about him, but the way he speaks, I feel like he's a serial killer. But he makes all these delicious foods. He's very soft-spoken, so it's easy to listen to him and watch him cook. But I really feel like he's hiding people under the floorboards.
That's his.
No offense to him at all. It's just the vibe I get.
Yeah, he could be a totally nice guy, but
he probably is.
You're hacking people up on the weekends. He just ease up a little bit.
As long as he doesn't do it on TikTok, we're cool. Just keep with the food videos. I like it.
Yeah, he's one step away from doing that.
He might be. I don't know.
He's just feeling everybody out. I'm going to keep acting creepier and creepier, and we'll see how far I can take this.
Creepy though. It's just the tone of his voice and the way the manner he speaks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Something. It's like a Patrick Bateman vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
He's kind of my hero, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So what's up, Cookie? What's up, Steve? Hello, Ruth. Ronan. Zeddy, how's it going on this fine Sunday evening? Chris, what'd you get up to this past week?
So this week we were supposed to have like the snowpocalypse again here in Texas. It wasn't that bad.
What's that? 2 inches?
About an inch and a half. It was supposed to be pretty bad, but it turned out okay. So I was actually out of the house much more than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
But I did watch some things. I read a couple things. Let's start with the watches, though, for me.
Cool. Yep.
Have you heard of a show called Has Been Hotel?
No.
Okay, so it's an animated thing that started on YouTube, and I suppose it was so popular now Amazon has it, and A24 is funding it. So it is an A24 animated series.
Okay, good.
It's about this works and get tricky.
Yeah. Okay.
The concept of the series is that Satan and Lilith had a child. The
Mhm.
child's name is Charlotte. So now Charlotte
Okay.
and her father run hell. Hell is depicted as like a city, like imagine New York City or something.
Okay. All right.
And
Still with you.
Charlotte wants to run a hotel to help save the souls of hell. Because every year, angels from heaven come down to exterminate souls, to just wipe them out completely, so that there's not a so they don't have an opportunity to kind of overrun things.
Little natural selection type of deal.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. All right.
It's pretty funny. I watched
I was waiting for the. It's funny. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. It kind of reminds me of the Harley Quinn series. It's that same kind of adult humor, and it's very interesting to look at. The designs are cool. It's sort of like something you'd see on Cartoon Network for a child as far as the look of it. But then,
Right.
like, as soon as you see the origin part, you realize this is not for children.
Hmm.
And I imagine it would offend a lot of people too, because it kind of paints Satan and Lilith in a, I don't want to say a nicer light, but it's a more positive kind of thing.
What is that on? Where are you watching it?
It's on Amazon.
Amazon. Okay.
It's called Has Been Hotel. HAZBIN. Has Been.
Has Been Hotel.
It's kind of fun. I think I'm going to stick with it. It's 4 episodes right now. And like I said, it was apparently so popular on YouTube, they have given it a full series.
It's
Plus
a musical.
Oh yeah, it has music in it
Comedy.
too, which is something. I was caught off guard by that.
Yeah, the premise sounds fun enough.
It's different. That's what I would say.
It's from a couple years ago too.
That was a YouTube show. Yeah, the YouTube
Yeah.
version started in 2019.
Yeah, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the animation style looks just like the Harley Quinn show.
It's very similar. I actually thought it was
Yeah.
like Belle doing one of the voices too, but it's actually Beatrice Hernandez, I think is her name. She's from.
I got Stephanie Beatrice as
That's
Vaggie.
Yeah, her full name is. We don't want the E rating, so Vaggie works.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't see any many popular names on here. All I see is Keith David in 3 episodes. That's
Keith David is pretty funny so far. I love the voice of Keith David no matter what he's doing.
Sure, he's got that voice.
He's got a certain kind of voice. I just like Keith David. He's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that.
Nice.
I watched a lot of Young Sheldon because I'm trying to catch up before the new one premieres.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that has been watched. I'm almost done, I would say. Maybe.
Oh, good.
I didn't look at the episode count, but I've watched a large chunk of it. So there's that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, doesn't it feel weird sometimes just watching TV shows and they have like 20 episodes a season or like 18 episodes? Like, what's strange? I don't know what I'm doing here.
That's why I don't really watch a lot of I don't want to sound snobby, but I don't watch network TV often because I don't want to watch 20 episodes of something usually.
Right, yeah.
But then when I think about it, some of my favorite shows are sitcoms. Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Everybody Loves Raymond. These are shows that have 20 plus episode seasons.
Yep.
Even like Buffy had a lot of episodes per season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that that was an hour, so that's a lot to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's the thing is I don't know this, but are for the network shows that are 20 plus episodes is mostly 30 minutes now. I don't know of any longer ones like Law and Order, Chicago shows, Fire PD.
It feels like
yeah, I don't know if those are longer shows, both in episode length, but then it's season length as well.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I have no idea. But I think that most of the longer shows have shorter seasons. I think.
Right.
Just because I think the longer show with the longer season is a thing of the past.
Right.
Because even like Superman and Lois, that bottoms out like 13 or 14 episodes. I think.
Yeah.
And that's more than enough, I believe, for an hour show. If it's a sitcom or a 20-minute show, then you can do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, do whatever you want. Whatever makes you happy. As long as it's not heroin, we don't care.
Yeah.
We got Phil with us. Eric joined. Ian. Hi. I know there's a big storm in England, and it seems like the whole world is like the day after tomorrow right now.
Yeah, we had that last week. We had a couple feet of snow in a day or two. So
I deleted the Canadian problems thing. I should just keep that in.
Yeah,
Hashtag
you should
Canadian
have.
problems. But those are my like TV series watches. As far as movies go, I watched a couple of new things. And I
Hmm.
think you've seen one of them. You watched Sonic 2, right?
Oh yeah, we saw that in the theater.
Okay, I just caught that this week for the first time. That was fun.
Hmm.
A lot
Hmm.
more kid friendly than the first one, I think. I guess because I had more of the CGI, so more Sonic.
Yeah, more tails. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like the voice for Tails, but I get that's the voice from the animated series and stuff.
Hmm.
Was not really a fan. I really like Knuckles though. Idris Elba just makes anything cool.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I'm pretty sure you can cast Idris Elba as like the Tooth Fairy or something, and it would work.
Hmm.
So more Idris Elba than anything. And Jim Carrey's always fun.
Hmm.
So I enjoyed that. But I also watched Justice League Crisis on Tours Part 1. Don't want to talk about it, didn't like it. And Self Reliance was actually the big hit for me this week. Have you heard of this movie?
No, I don't know that one.
Okay, Self Reliance is written and directed by Jake Johnson from New Girl, which I'm a big fan of too.
New Girl.
Yes.
Oh, with Zoe Deschanel.
Mhm. Jake Johnson
I
is
get.
one of the lead characters. You may have seen him in like Let's Be Cops.
Yeah, I see that guy there. Yeah.
Oh, he's Peter B. Parker. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's probably what he's known for now.
All right.
But I like that a lot. That was a fun concept. It's about a dark web show where people try to kill you. And you have to survive.
Oh.
It's funnier than it sounds.
Oh. Okay. All right.
It is a comedy, but
Okay.
it's got a strange tone because like it's really dark sometimes. Then it's not, and it just kind of feels surreal, and you don't really know what you're watching. I don't know how to explain it. It's something you'd have to see, but I enjoyed it.
Give that one a go.
Yeah, you might like it. It kind of reminded me of what's that movie called? Mark Duplass, where he builds a time machine. You know what I'm talking about? What's that movie called?
Nope.
Safety,
Don't know that one.
Safety Not Guaranteed.
Oh, I remember the trailer for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good. I like that one. It reminds me of that. It's kind of like on the same track.
All right.
But I enjoyed that. That would be my watches. Those are pretty quick.
A couple obscure ones for you this week.
I like the obscure stuff sometimes.
Hmm.
Ian said, I rewatched The Marvels with my wife and kids yesterday. They loved it. I also enjoyed it more the second time. It's actually a very funny movie, and the chemistry between the leads is top notch. I agree. I also really like The Marvels. I know a lot of people didn't. I thought it was fun. It's not the greatest thing, but it's entertaining. Zeddy says, I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal in Day After Tomorrow trying to maneuver around Chicago. Yeah, I've seen the news. You guys got it pretty bad right now. He says, Fargo season finale was great. Definitely recommend the most recent season. Yeah, I got to get to that. The finale, I'll get to that maybe tonight. Oh, I think you watched it, so we'll get to True Detective. You watched that, right?
I did. I just watched it last night.
Okay, we'll get to that when we're done. Zeddy said, I blew his mind with a certain actress in Self Reliance. So, you've seen Anna Kendrick in a lot of stuff, right?
Sure.
Apparently, she's a horrible person.
In real life?
Yeah, apparently she's horrible.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like one of those you got to separate the actor's real life from the performance. Zeddy didn't know about the stuff behind the scenes.
Oh, you ruined. Oh, that's a sad emoji there.
Yeah, it's a sad one. I think I ruined Anna Kendrick.
I get you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's too bad.
But most of these people are horrible anyway, I think, when you pull the curtain.
Yeah, most of our heroes are horrible people.
It's highly possible. But those are my watches. What do you get up
to? So you started with TV. I'll start with TV.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching Beef on Netflix. I saw over last weekend with the Emmys. Was it last weekend or the weekend before with the Emmys? Anyways, Stephen Yen and Ali Wong won Best Actor and Best Actress in a limited series, I think it was, for Beef, which I had no idea was even a show.
I didn't either.
So I had no idea what it was. I went in kind of dry and unprepared for that one. So I started watching that. I'm only a couple episodes in. I don't know why I didn't watch it more of the week as it was going on, but it's pretty interesting. It's about a guy and a girl who have a road rage incident. They don't know each other, and they don't see each other's faces. But then, as the show goes on, they get more intersected, and their lives become more entwined. As the show goes on, and their road rage becomes more apparent, and their personal lives become more apparent, and that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty like I think I've only watched 2, maybe 3 episodes. So I'm pretty early in that, but it's nice to see Steven Yen in something. I really only saw him in Walking Dead, and then hear him in when I watched the first season of Invincible. I'm not sure if I've seen anything else with Steven Yen in it.
I don't think I have.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I don't think I have.
And I don't recall ever watching anything with Ali Wong in it either. So it's kind of nice just kind of watching this. It also has the guy that was just cast in The Last of Us Part 2 is Jesse. I forget what his name is. Real funny name, Young Mancino, or he's got a really funny name. I'm gonna have to look it up. Anyways,
Okay.
he plays Steven Yen's brother. So it's kind of cool that I didn't know who that actor was when he was cast, and now I'm watching his show with him. So I'm kind of getting a good idea of who they are, which is fun. Oh man, I gotta check my letterbox. That's how I remember things now. That was it for TV this week. Yeah, that was it for TV this week. I think. Yeah, watching a lot of Simpsons in between spare time right now.
Okay.
Just for fun, we talked. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I was watching Frasier. Just kind of watching it as just for kind of time wasting. So I'm watching a lot of Simpsons right now for time wasting, just for kind of fun. And I'm watching it with my son, which he thinks it's funny. I'm trying to think. I was 8 years old probably when I started watching The Simpsons, or around that age. It's just funny, some of the jokes, and we were watching a season. I forget which season it was, but like there was something about religion and God in 3 episodes back to back to back. Like there was the one episode where the kids go to live with the Flanders, and they try to baptize the kids. And then I think it's the episode after that is the one with the statue, the angel bones that they find, and it turns out that it's a marketing gimmick for a mall or whatever. But that one, and there was one episode right after that as well, very religion heavy. So that was kind of interesting. I haven't watched these episodes in such a long time, but then watching them as a kid, like my son is doing, just some of the stuff is funny, like the fart jokes, but then the other stuff that nobody gets if you're an 8-year-old kid is quite funny as well. And the religion's one of those things that as a kid I don't recall ever understanding the comedy in it. So
I think it's one of those shows that you can watch as a kid and it's still entertaining, but as an adult you get the whole picture. I think that kind of makes it special. I don't remember the last time I watched an episode of it, but that's kind of my takeaway from it now. Like, there's things that you will get.
Yeah. Yeah, so I watched True Detective as well, but we'll talk about that after I talk about just some quick movie things here. I watched Becky from a couple of years ago. It's got Kevin James in it as a bad guy, a neo-Nazi who breaks out of prison and tries to retrieve something that he had stolen or needed to find before he went to jail, but he has to find it in a house where obviously our heroes are stationed, and there's a little girl there named Becky, and she has to fight off Kevin James and a whole bunch of neo-Nazis in kind of a horror action kind of themed movie. I don't know why I watched it. I can't remember why I thought it was a good idea to put this on and watch it. It wasn't a terrible movie, but and there's a sequel to it as well, Wrath of Becky. So where she gets at it again, fighting some evil, evil people. So I watched that, and then I watched. It was funny. Phil put in the comments that he watched Happy Death Day, and I watched Happy Death Day. I wanted to get to it in October at some point, spooky season. I don't know why I didn't get to it. Maybe just not enough time. And I had higher expectations for this movie than I probably should have. They made a sequel for it, so maybe that's why one small step in thinking that it was better than it should have been. It was fine. It was good time. The Groundhog Day aspect to it was good, but the lead, I can't remember her name. Didn't find her any kind of enjoyable at all. What do you call her? What do you call those girls? Scream Queens, Final Girls. Yeah, that's it. I don't see her on any top 5 or top 10 or top any kind of list anytime. Yeah, so I didn't enjoy her that much. I like the Groundhog Day aspect to it. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think even the final scene where what's his name is like, oh, it sounds like a lot like Groundhog Day, and she doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's like, oh, Bill Murray. He's like, I have no idea who you're talking about. So I thought that was fun. I thought some of the kills were pretty good. Obviously, this girl dying over and over again. So yeah, okay, not great.
I meant to put a new video thing in here, and now I feel like I should have, because it's the part of Revenge of the Sith when Natalie Portman says, "You're breaking my heart."
Yeah, that's right. That's what we need.
I'm gonna have the video clip ready for next week.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think the technical foul one is fine.
It's just funny.
You're breaking my heart is like something that really offends you. I like that. You gotta add that for sure.
Technical foul is something I enjoy because I love that cartoon. Let's get to some comments for a second. Steve started True Detective season 1, but season 4 is cool so far. Everyone, when I made that tweet about True Detective, the flood that came that I need to watch the first season, and it's like, even if I didn't want to watch it, I'm going to watch it now.
You have to.
I have to see what the hype is. Yeah, I gotta see what the hype is. Ian says True Detective was so good. Phil watched Jaws, Fletch, Happy Death Day, Inception, and The Holdovers. That's a solid group of films. Which Fletch did you watch? The first one? Zeddy watched True Detective, Warriors, Sex, Lies, and Videotape, Wet Hot American Summer, and Boys in the Boat. When I glanced at this comment, I thought it said Boys in the Boot. I was thinking, is this an English film? I wasn't sure. I love Wet Hot American Summer, though. That's a good time.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's fun. Cookie watch Prisoners. I Am Ruined. Yeah, that's a rough one.
Oh, that's a good comment and a good thing to bring up later in our show, so that'll help.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. Zay said he's never been able to see Paul Dano the same since Prisoners. He says, I won't be able to see him the same now either. The Riddler casting makes so much sense. It really does. Like Prisoners, I think it sort of puts him into perspective. Because I thought Paul Dano was great anyway, but I always thought of him as his character in The Girl Next Door. So to see him go from that to where he is now it's a pretty big change.
Yeah, Paul Dano, I think, is one of the best actors working right now because of movies like Prisoners or The Batman. But then when you get Swiss a movie like what's that?
Swiss Army Man.
Exactly. But then you get a movie like The Fabelmans, where he plays the dad. And I thought he was one of the best parts of that entire movie. I think he's got incredible range.
He does.
Incredible range. Yeah.
I like him a lot. But seeing him in Prisoners, it paints him in a different light, I'd say.
Yep, for sure.
Swell guy.
Yeah. All right, so that's our watches, Chris. Did you read anything this week?
Yeah, I read a couple of things. I got to Kill Your Darlings. I read Kill Your Darlings number 5. Everybody, I've been really high on this series, and this issue. So this is the start of the next arc because now we're in the final 4, the back half of the series. There's only 8 issues total. So they finish off that first arc. Now we're in the second part, and it starts off with a bang, I would say. Good. It's also a really quick read. Like it felt like I read it in 5 minutes or less.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's not a lot of dialogue. It's more visual, which is not a bad thing because the visuals speak for themselves, and it really. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a kind of a mystery aspect to the first 4 about what's going on and why is it going on. Issue 5 fills in some of those blanks, and it does it in a very clever way. And I think now I have a better idea of where the series is headed as we get closer to the finale.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really love this book. I think it's just entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool story, and it's this back half hopefully will keep on that trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed that, and then I tried to read Avengers Twilight #1. I think I'm halfway through it. I like it, but it's very wordy, and I think I bit off more than I could chew at the time. I didn't have the amount of brain power to process. It's from
Does
Chip
not
Zdarsky.
compute. Does not compute.
Was not computing. Johnny Five is down. But it's a good read so far. I'm only halfway through. It's about a world where the Avengers are either dead or just aged. Like Steve Rogers, I think, is in his 70s, maybe 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Cage walks with a cane, for example. That's how old he is. And yeah, it seems like there are no heroes left. And I think Tony's dead. I'm pretty sure Tony is dead because there's another Stark character who looks like him, and I believe it's his son.
His son?
Yeah, I didn't know that Tony Stark had a son.
Did not know that.
No, but it's not one of those Marvel number ones that trick you, where it's like, oh, it's a #1, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that. This appears to actually be a #1, and it's from Chip Zdarsky, so people like that.
Yeah. Yeah, people seem to like that. I agree with that. That Zdarsky seems like he's kind of a very hot writer right now. What's that line from Zoolander? Will Ferrell says it about somebody. Somebody's so hot right now. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's so hot right now. That seems like that's Zdarsky. You know, he's on Batman. He's been on lots of other big titles. So I agree with that.
Legendary.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So a lot of people do like his stuff. For me, not everything hits, which is fine. So I didn't even know this book was out or had come out or was coming out or had come out. So I'm going to give it a go. It's got some really sweet looking covers from Alex Ross.
Yes.
You know, a #1 always helps with me, with Marvel. Hopefully it doesn't hit me over the head like it did you with its wordiness, but I'm sure it will. But I think I'll give it a shot regardless.
I just didn't have the processing power. I'll finish it.
Yes.
The art is really nice too. It has this distinct style where it's not overly cartoony looking and it's not super realistic. It's a really nice middle ground. So I like that as well. And just in the first issue, you see a lot of characters, which is pretty neat because they're all older. So
nice.
Yeah, it's like Old Man Logan, but when the world's not a hellscape.
Yeah, that's always trouble.
Yeah, it's more Blade Runner, I guess, than Hellscape.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Steve says Arno Stark has been in stories for quite a while. His name was Jimmy Stark or James Stark. Is that the same character or is that a different Stark?
Arno. What kind of name is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I like Iron Man, but I like movie Iron Man. I haven't really read much comic Iron Man, just kind of here and there. So I can't really say much about the comic counterpart. Eric says Zdarsky seems like the next Tynan. Maybe, but Tynan is kind of a different beast because Tynan's indie stuff is really good. Like Ed and I have both been huge fans of a lot of his independent stuff that we've read.
Yep.
I'm anxiously anticipating the final issue of Dracula, for example.
Oh man, is that's not this week, is it?
I think it is this week.
Oh my god!
But there's others like The Closet was one of our favorite books a couple years ago. Yeah, I would reread that any day. It's a good time. Oh
yes.
I don't know if that's called a good time given the subject matter.
Yeah, maybe not a good time.
It's a great read, is what I would say. Okay, Steve says it is a different character.
There you go.
Yeah, so maybe this exists in a different pocket of the universe. I don't know. But yeah, it's Jimmy Stark. So those are my two reads, though. I have stuff on.
Jimmy Stark.
Yeah, Jimmy Stark. I have stuff I want to get to, like there's a new James Bond comic that started.
I was just going to ask you about that. Yeah.
I decided to read Avengers instead of that earlier today, and I was like, halfway through Avengers, like I probably should have went with Bond because I think it'd be
written by Garth Ennis. which is nice. He's one of the best.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, a couple of James Bond number ones ago, which it seems like there's one every, I don't know, 6 months or whatever.
There is. They restart.
You had mentioned, you had mentioned to me that you don't know how well 007 transfers over to comic form for you.
I don't think he does for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But with Garth Ennis writing this one, I wanted to try it. I feel like Bond is more of a visual movie character. And I know he started in books. I get it. He's actually a literary character.
Wait a second.
Yeah, but just for me, I prefer to see him in film or TV if it ever happens. I don't think I like the idea of just reading the character.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although I should eventually give the books a shot. I wanted to try.
You haven't read any of them?
No, but if they have, now that we talk about it, if they have an audiobook, I might look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Our buddy Grabs was telling me about that Dresden Files series. I want to try that too. Some of them are on Spotify, but my issue with audiobooks are sometimes the narrator is just off the wall.
Yeah, it depends which one it is, eh?
Yeah, like the Shadow narrator was pretty good, both of them. But like the Interview with the Vampire narrator was just odd. Did not like it.
Yeah, those Dresden File ones, I think you'd enjoy. I've read 2 of those ones.
Yeah, I think I would like those too. Steve says Arno is a descendant who is a King opponent, so King goes back and tries to kill Howard or Tony to erase him. This son must be all new. Yeah, I don't think this is anything like that. So those are my reads.
Jimmy Stark. Yeah.
Old Jimmy Stark.
Pretty small list for me this week. Just Wonder Woman number 5. Which continues to be great from King and St. Pierre. Number 4 was quite special for me. I can't remember if I talked about it. That was probably too long ago. But number 4 was just so special, and then kind of a different kind of a tone for number 5 this week. But I read The Deviant number 3 as well from Tynan. The mystery keeps unfolding at a slow, tiny pace. But and the dialogue is still unfolding at a tiny pace as well.
That's okay.
That's good. Yeah, it's okay. That's what I'm really digging about this book, and as we read, or as I read more of Tynan stuff from his indie work, just getting a better handle on who he is. And you had mentioned a while ago going back and reading his Batman run to see if we missed anything. And I think that's been one of the biggest things for me since last year is, understanding the writer and who they are helps with then reading the stories that they write, I think. So reading The Deviant is just, it's moving along pretty well. This one was less, there still was pretty gruesome stuff happening. But this one, out of the previous 2, didn't feel as much horror based and violence based, just a lot more of the mystery unfolding from, I think it's 1973 until the 2023 present day stuff. So that's pretty much it for my reads this week. I think that was it. To think if I read anything else. No, I bought a whole bunch of comics this week. So that was my that was my comic book stuff that happened this week.
What did you buy?
I don't know yet. I can't remember. I got a big box. It should be coming this week. I got over 20 books.
There's a lot.
Single issues and collected. I'm coming this week. I actually bought a James Tynan book that came out this past week.
Another book?
Yeah, it's from a couple years ago. It's These Savage Shores. It's a definitive edition. Sorry, not James Tynan.
Ron V.
Ron V. Yeah, Ron V.
The vampire book.
One of his first early ones. I think that I was really digging, or that I'm really wanting to dig into.
I heard it was pretty good.
So, yeah,
it's a Vampire Pirates, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and doesn't that sound like the best thing in the world? So, hoping to dig that. So I got that at least one of the books coming this week, and I bought a whole bunch of stuff over the Christmas break. My comic shop had 12 Days of Christmas, so all the 12 days leading up to Christmas, they had different sales. So I bought a whole bunch of books and just regular books that are on my pull list as well. So, yeah, I didn't read as much, but hopefully. Buying books is the same kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah, right.
It's well, I mean, if that's the case, I have read a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
I have cubicles full of things that
That's
I've read.
right.
Some books, even the ones I've lost, you can say I've read. Like I still don't know where that the Devil's Cut is. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
you son of a.
I have no idea where it's at. I did, read Soma though. That was called Sanma.
Somna.
Sanma.
Yeah.
I did read that, so I kind of read Devil's Cut.
There's no point in reading Devil's Cut now. You just read the issues as they come out.
Yeah, now I could just read them and see if I like them. I could just do it that way.
Exactly.
I'm surprised we haven't had Somna 2 yet, because it feels like it's been a while.
I think that is soon. If I remember correctly, it's in like the first week of February or the end of January.
Oh, okay. I guess they're
And it's got 3 issues solicited so far. So, yeah.
It's gonna be a good year for Distillery. I think we said that the first week back. With
We did, yeah.
they're gonna have a lot of stuff coming.
I hope it's a good one.
Yes.
Oh, because that's what I read some stuff that I hadn't watched. I finished reading the Swamp Thing Green Hell from Jeff Lemire and Doug Mank.
Oh yeah, you like
It came out a couple of years ago. Yeah, and I hadn't read the 3rd issue that took so long to come out after the 2nd issue because I guess Doug Mank had some health issues overall. So yeah, the 3rd issue, it's funny. Like I think about like Batman Damned is like a weird Justice League Dark book because it's got all the Justice League, and that's kind of the thing with Swamp Thing Green Hell as well. It's got Deadman, it's got Constantine, it's got not a Justice League Dark character, but Animal Woman in it. So it's like it's not just a Swamp Thing book. It's got other Justice League Darkish characters and the supernatural characters in it, which I really enjoyed. One of the best things about Green Hell was the art from Doug Mank and how it's just all out gore fest in a lot of aspects with the Swamp Thing. With Swamp Thing being like just total carnage against the green and the rock and the red and all that good stuff. So the art was the big takeaway from Green Hell over the I guess the words from Lemire. Nothing wrong with them, of course, but the biggest thing for me was the art from Doug Mank, which was so good.
But his art is always impressive, and I think with Swamp Thing, the carnage is it happens. I like to see the carnage.
Give it to me, please.
Yeah, I don't think he's a docile character really. Once he starts going, there's not really a way for him to be. It's kind of like Wolverine. He's got claws out. If he can't just scratch you. You're probably going to lose.
Quit that! Quit that, you two. Yeah, no, he's going to cut some arms off.
Right. If the claws are out, you're getting cut. It is what it is. Swamp Thing is a giant swamp creature made out of different things. So it happens.
That is true.
Cookie says Somna maybe this week. Somna 2 is maybe this week.
Nice. Don't have to wait too long then.
Yeah, that would make more sense because it didn't drop early last month or early December.
The first issue came out November, end of November.
Oh, okay, then it should be this month.
And I see it's the 31st, so not this week, but the week after.
Okay. We still got some good stuff coming this week, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Our reads and our watches.
Your sound's messed up.
What about now? How about now?
No, we're having technical difficulties.
What's the matter?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Oh, see, here I am. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Signal's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our reads and our watches this week, and we have a main topic, Chris, that I had thought about, and it's good that Steve is on the show because I'm stealing this idea from a conversation I had with him on Twitter. And I like that Cookie is on as well because of her recent watch of Prisoners. And this comes back. I had this idea, and I've been having this idea. I watched David Fincher's Girl with a Dragon Tattoo a couple weeks ago. During the part of the movie where Elizabeth gets raped by the lawyer or whoever's holding her money, I skipped over that part. Obviously, I had seen it before when the movie first came out, and I think I watched the movie again after that. I watched the scene just like any other scene in the movie. But at this point, I said to myself, do I need to watch this scene again? I know what happens. I don't need to feel what it feels watching something horrible happen to Elizabeth Salander. So that's fine. So then I thought to myself, maybe I forget what it was, sometime earlier this week. I was thinking, Jacob Elordi's been all over the news with Saltburn, and he was on Jimmy Fallon the other day. And I got to thinking about Euphoria and how Euphoria was such a big deal for how great it was. I think it won awards. People talked so many good things about it. My wife had watched it, and she said how great it was. And I watched one. I've only seen one episode, or I haven't seen an episode, but I was only around one episode when it was on the TV when my wife was watching. And it was a scene that, Chris, you had mentioned to me when we were talking about this, is the scene where Rue and one other character, I don't know who it is, are in a diner. Yeah, they're in a diner somewhere, and they talk for 45 minutes, I think. They talk about addiction. And it was some of the most captivating TV that I had ever seen, just from two people talking across a diner table together. So I said, you know what? I should give Euphoria a try. I got exactly 33 minutes and 11 seconds into the show, and I had to turn it off. At that moment, a young girl named Jules meets a gentleman she meets online at a hotel, and relations happened. And in a sense, she gets raped by this guy, and is like 5 seconds after the scene started, I had to turn it off and say, you know what, I can't watch this. The show may be good. Zendaya may be great. Sydney Sweeney, maybe, isn't that her name? Zendaya,
I think it was
Zendaya. Thank you.
I like your pronunciation.
Yeah, sure. Just keep following me along here. Sydney Sweeney may be great. Jacob Elordi may be great. And onward. But the horrible things that are going to happen to these young people in this show, I think, are going to happen to these people in this show because of what happens at exactly 33 minutes and 11 seconds. Why do I need to put myself through the pain of watching horrible things happen to people? And again, Chris, we talked about this when you were talking about Saltburn, and the biggest thing about Saltburn is so many weird and so many weird and terrible things happen to people in that movie. But there's people not like you, Chris, but people like you who find enjoyment in some of those things. And there's people on the other side of it where they're saying, well, why am I watching this? Where is the joy? And this was, Steve was talking about this when he was talking about the first season of True Detective, which we skipped over talking about season 4 of True Detective. So I apologize. We'll figure out how to work it in there.
Yeah.
But where is there joy or fun or enjoyment in watching bad things? Like, not just like somebody stubbing their toe or getting fired from a job, but women getting raped, different kinds of murder, gross and disgusting things like a bathtub scene in Saltburn, and so on and so forth. Where is the joy, and why? We can't ask a why, but why would people do things? Because a lot of people are different. But and we're talking about Cookie watching Prisoners. There's a scene in that movie that is incredibly hard to watch, where they've Terrence Howard, Hugh Jackman, and have Paul Dano held up against the wall and are ready to beat the crap out of the guy, and then they throw him in a burning hot shower and basically burn the kid alive. Where is the joy? Yeah. Where is the joy in seeing bad things happen to people in movies and TV shows, Chris? Can you help me help others? Where it is?
I wouldn't say it's a joy, though.
In horror movies and watching a slasher film, or feeling scared from a horror movie is different than seeing something horrible happen to someone or them doing something gross and disgusting.
I actually don't think they're that different, because we watch horror films and horrible things happen to sometimes good characters. Like, you could watch the Halloween franchise, and something I think it's kind of interesting about the Halloween franchise is a lot of the victims are kind of just everyday people who aren't exactly bad. Like if you watch most recently Halloween Kills, there's a character in there who is an escaped mental patient. That character dies, and it's pretty horrible. So I think that, you watch something like that and that's horrible on its own. Then you watch something like, something that's disgusting or horrible in a regular film, and it's the same kind of emotion. Now, maybe you expect it more in like a horror film, like you expect people to die. We could watch any trailer of any horror movie and just start picking out, okay, they're dead, they're dead. You know what I mean? Like the Abigail trailer, you could pick out most of that cast is dead.
Sure.
But I think when it comes to a regular film and you watch it, it hits a little differently because you're not expecting it. But I don't think I would call it a joy unless maybe it's like maybe there's a funny thing to it or like an aspect,
Right.
or it's a gotcha kind of moment. Maybe the character was a horrible person in the movie, something like that. In the case of like Steve brings up a pretty popular one, The Passion of the Christ. For example, for me, I can never watch it again. I know a lot of people who cannot watch this movie, and I watched it without flinching. It did not affect me whatsoever.
Yeah.
What that says about me, I couldn't tell you. But I think that it's easier for people to watch something that has like a positive message and a happier message, just because sometimes that feeling that you get from watching something like Passion of the Christ or, Saltburn, because you get the bathtub scene, but the grave scene, there's a cemetery scene that is far worse. And you watch those things, it's like you get a certain feeling from it. It's easier to watch the happy film than shake the bathtub cemetery scene. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of it. But at the same time, if a movie can make you feel anything, I think that is a huge win for the movie. Like a movie I cannot watch again is 12 Years a Slave.
Right.
I think that is one of the best movies ever made. Will I watch it again? Absolutely not.
That's right.
Once was enough, and that's it. I felt what I felt, and I don't want to go back to that. So I also think it's a case of picking your poison. What can you handle? What can you watch and still enjoy? We got some interesting comments. Ian says, it's the art in its full form. If it's violence for no reason, then it doesn't entertain me. But when bad things happen for a character or plot development, then it's important, like in Euphoria. That's another thing. Senseless violence doesn't do anything.
Right.
But if there's a meaning or a point behind whatever's happening, I think that the film is doing its job, or the series is doing its job. I find movies like Joker harder to watch than violent movies. I do too, but for a different reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say, pick a different, give me a different example there, Ian. Come on.
A different reason it's hard for me to watch. Steve says, or Matthew McConaughey's character in True Detective season 1 is just miserable. I didn't feel good after watching him, and I want my entertainment to leave me feeling good. Which I think it's a 50-50. And again, it's whatever you can handle and watch and enjoy.
Yeah, one of the things, and that was where it initiated from, was the True Detective thing. At a lot of those times, Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, both their characters are not characters filled with joy a lot of the time. Woody's going through a breakup or like marriage issues pretty much the entire season. Matthew McConaughey's got his own issues going on in that in the season as well. So there's the idea as well about a show that's not filled with. I keep wanting to say joy in a different ways, because like Game of Thrones, I don't know if that's a good example because it has funny moments in it.
It does,
but like aspects. What's that?
It is a miserable series, though.
Yeah. So, but there's some kind of joy in seeing it as well. And I think what you said earlier about a TV show and a movie, if we don't feel anything in that, we won't care. We don't care about it.
It's forgettable.
Like exactly. And even a movie we don't enjoy still makes us feel something. We're still talking about it in a certain way. So I do understand the idea of putting something in a show or a movie to make us feel something. But I'm thinking to myself, why would I watch Euphoria? Why would I continue to watch it after seeing a scene like that? And you mentioned it to me that it gets a little bit different as the show goes on. Obviously, it was in the pilot episode, so usually pilots are a little more oomph in them, a little more shock value. But like just again for myself, I'm trying to think of another. And like I said, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I skip right over the scene. I don't even watch the scene anymore. So I'm just wondering about trying to keep going back to something. Like, and you said you won't watch 12 Years a Slave again. Is that a good idea as well? Having something that is hard to watch and because of the stuff the themes or the visualization of the horrific nature that happened to Solomon in 12 Years a Slave, but you can't go back to it afterwards. You can't then again enjoy, or you can't experience the movie ever again or the TV show ever again because of something that you felt the first time you watched it.
Well, in one way, if you look at it, it means that the feeling was so distinct and intense that it leaves a lasting impression.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way to look at it. Like it was that strong. I don't need to go back.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way to look at it. I think, like Cookie says here, I love movies and shows that leave me feeling awful. It's kind of therapeutic, but I usually can't rewatch. And I think that's fine because some movies, I don't think some movies are meant for rewatching like continuously. Yeah, like I might watch something this year and I won't remember I even saw it, and I'll watch it again later on. Or it's like, okay, I think I can revisit this now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Requiem for a Dream, I think is a really good example.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing happy in that film. There is no character redemption. If anything, it gets even worse at the end for some of those characters.
I was going to say the characters are worse off at the end than they were at the start.
I don't think any of them actually had a better ending.
Nope.
Maybe Jared Leto's character, because I guess he's forced to get clean.
Yeah. If he makes it out of where he is, yeah.
Right, we don't even know. So, Steve says, I feel like I need a character redemption to like it. He says, I will never watch Requiem for a Dream again. Actually, I've seen it quite a few times. It doesn't bother me, but it is miserable. I think everybody's tolerance scale is different.
Yeah, well, and my tolerance scale has gone way down the older I get. And even like the more not the more I have kids, but the more I have my kids around, like my 14-year-old daughter, and that's why Euphoria maybe might be a little tough for me. Speaking of Darren Aronofsky, I remember when I was watching Mother, the movie that he did with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. There's a scene towards the end of the movie where a baby is born, and the baby is ripped from Jennifer Lawrence's mother's character, her arms, and taken by a group of people, and the baby is held up in the air and is crying and screaming and peeing all over itself because it's a baby. And I remember watching it in the theater. And you can say whatever you want about the movie itself, but like I remember watching that scene, and I think it was not long after my son was born. It was like, I cannot watch this movie ever again, and I haven't watched it, and I won't watch it because of a scene like that. So the older I get, and being a father has neutered me in a certain way, where my senses, my feeling is, I'm always thinking about my kids when I watch a movie, most of the time now. If I watch a movie about high school girls doing drugs and having sex and rape situations and social media situations, like, okay, that's my daughter right there. I can't think about anything other than that. And if there's young kids in a movie, and I was like, okay, well, that's my son, and I can't not think about that. So I think being in a state of mind is very different. And I talked about this with a friend as well, and I asked him how he felt about it, and he said, well, it depends on the state of mind, and it also depends how it's done. Like how it's filmed, how it's visualized, and if it's done in I don't want to say a tasteful way. Like I think about like an action movie like John Wick. Violence is over the top, blood and guts everywhere. Sure, give it to me. But if there's like a horror movie or something that's the same kind of blood and guts, like a Saw movie, where the violence is gratuitous in a certain way, that's a little bit harder. Like there's a difference between how it's done if the quality is there. I think for any kind of hard to watch scene.
So my mind went to two places just now. One was, did you eat the baby? Which it's kind of did you eat the baby? The other thing was Hereditary.
Yeah.
Hereditary is a very intense movie. Now it's horror, but there's something deeper there. It's about family, and it's very dark, and it can be hard to watch. And I don't think it's something people would rewatch often, but it is great. And I think that's rewatchable. I wonder if it's because it's set with horror.
Right.
Like maybe horror makes things easier to watch. Like I said earlier, they're similar, they're close enough, but maybe because you expect it, it's it's different.
Yep.
Steve asks, "Is it the breakup with Jennifer Aniston that makes you think it's a rom-com, but turns out just to be a horrible breakup with no happiness?" Kind of. I mean, I would say the breakup is not a joyless film because at the end of the movie, they're both on better paths. I think. I think the point of the breakup was that to show things happen. Life happens. Sometimes things just don't work out. Ian says, I wasn't a big fan of Game of Thrones at first, mainly because of the overuse of violence and incest. It didn't seem necessary a lot of the time. No, it didn't. And I think House of Dragon should have maybe taken that note.
I was just going to say, that sounds like a review of first season of House of the Dragon, Chris.
I think if we could have like a log line of something, that would be it.
Yeah.
Bill says Hereditary is not an easy rewatch. It is not, but it is a glorious film. Glorious.
Yeah. So again, I'm not not accustomed to hard to watch movies. I've been watching all of those movies all my life, but in a certain state of mind, I think I'll have to try and prepare myself a little bit better with Euphoria specifically, because I do want to watch the show because I know there's quality in there. There's quality in that 33 minutes and 11 seconds that I did watch. It's just that one scene just made me say, okay, I just can't do that right now. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna go back to it.
But I think also, and maybe this might be my final comment on it, but I think some of these movies, a bad thing happens to a character because it has to. We have to see the character go through this to understand the journey that they go on.
Sure.
In the case of Jules, that scene is horrible. It's a terrible thing, but to see how she progresses is important. Did we need to see it graphically? Probably not.
Right.
It could have been implied. It could have been suggested. Whatever.
Well, that was the thing leading up to the scene too. Like they show her, she's riding her bike to the motel. I'm like, okay, when she knocks on the door, just cut it. Just cut the scene and like get her leaving the hotel. We know what's happening in there. I get what's going to happen in there. But they kept going for it. I'm like, oh, damn it. I was hoping they weren't going to show it. And maybe that was my thought as well. Like the way that it's
Euphoria
the sense of dread is very, like, as soon as she leaves the house and she tells her dad, oh, I'm going to a party, and she gets on her bicycle, I'm like, oh, Jules, God damn it. Don't do it.
It happens, man.
It happens, man.
I don't know. The way they set things up in film, they want you to feel it, and if it hits, it hits. And I think that does influence the way you watch something. It influences the way you come back to it, and overall, it influences your memory of it. Because now, no matter what, when you think Euphoria, it won't be forgettable because you remember that exact sequence. Bye, Dad. I'm going to a party on the bike, and then terror.
Terror.
Horror. Steve said, I guess that's my issue. I don't care for life bad stuff and my fake stuff. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Real life has enough of its own bad stuff. I agree with that too. I think part of the reason we turn to entertainment is to turn our brain off.
Yeah, and I like and Phil mentions a little bit longer. Like there's movies to make you feel a different way as well. Like you can watch something that makes you feel a bad way. And the next night watch something that makes you laugh. Do something there. It's not like you have to, be sunken in that hole of dread and awfulness constantly. Find something else that will bring you more of a joyful experience.
Cookie says Martyrs was hard to watch and the end depressed the hell out of me, but I'm glad I saw it. If that makes sense. I don't think I've seen Martyrs.
I don't know.
Is that something new?
Just typed it in. No, it's from 2008.
I don't think I've seen it. Phil says a film that is certain to put me in a good mood every time is Uncle Buck. John Candy was an absolute legend. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like this movie that you watch, that instant good mood.
Yep.
Macy Warts Uncle? What is this?
That's the line from Uncle Buck when he's talking to the teacher.
I don't
So,
think I've seen Uncle
yeah.
Buck since I was a child.
Well, you put it at the top of your list there, buddy.
I could, but that list is really long.
Yes, it's the year just started, and Chris's list is quite long.
I'm already quitting.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing else is being added to my list.
No, I'm just gonna watch Batman Begins for the rest of the year.
That's right.
That is the idea. Just repeat Batman Begins and Sheldon. Anything with Sheldon Cooper.
And with young Sheldon, that's always a good time. All right, folks. So that's our thoughts on some movies that are hard to watch and why we choose to watch them. Chris, anything else you want to talk about before we get on out of here tonight?
I like True Detective.
Right. True Detective season 4, episode 1, Night Country. I liked it too. It went to kind of some different places that I was expecting it to go. Particularly the opening scene with the elk or caribou or reindeer.
Whatever that was cool.
Yeah, like and like the tongue. The one thing that I did like was like the, I don't know, side story about the woman in the past who had lost her tongue, that Navarro was that had found, which I thought that was quite interesting. I didn't know John Hawkes was in the show. I love John Hawkes. I think he's an incredible actor. I love him in lots of TV shows, Deadwood. So I was very happy to see him in that. Interesting seeing Jodie Foster. Don't know if I've seen her in a lot. You know, Silence of the Lambs. I know she was in Inside Man. Hard to pick out another,
Contact.
Jodie Foster movie. Contact. So it's nice seeing her, doing some more. Not doing some more, but doing something like True Detective. I think I'm really going to enjoy this season. I can feel it already.
Me too. Cosign. And I like the supernatural stuff. Did not know there was supernatural stuff in True Detective. I assumed it meant like True Detective. It's in the title. I assumed that they were doing kind of like real life type investigations, like regular murders and things like that.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons are like that. Yeah, the first 2 seasons are very, down to earth. I didn't watch the 3rd season, so yeah, this one's a bit different.
But we'll see how tonight's episode is.
Shit, yeah, it's Sunday already. I watched it a couple nights ago, so
yeah, I'm ready for the next one. Nice. I think it's already on.
Yeah, 10 o'clock probably. 10 or 9 probably is when big HBO shows are on. Anyways, okay, Chris, hit us up with some plugs. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter at thatchris70. You can also follow the podcast I do with my buddies Anthony Caruso and Phil Walsh at DC Unlimited Pod. And as always, I would love it if you guys would follow this show at G of the Geeks. Emmet is better with the rest of the plugs, and he will take over.
You can follow me on Twitter at Emmet Davis 7, Gathering of the Geeks. It's available on YouTube, where you're hopefully watching the show right now, and wherever you get your podcasts. A version of this show will be available whenever it gets uploaded, probably sometime this week. So I want to say thanks to Cookie, Ian, Eric, Zeddy, Phil, Steve. Thanks for watching. Ronan, a quick there at the start. Ruth Monroe at the start as well. And there was somebody else at the start. Nope, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. And we will catch you next week. So in saying all that, for Chris and I'm Emmet, and we gather on Sundays.
Have a good week, guys. Where's that thing?